The moment I revealed I'd been secretly paying my sister's rent for 2 years, the family dinner went from celebration to complete chaos. What started as a toast to the golden child ended with truths nobody wanted to hear. My name is Alex Carter. I'm 32 years old, and this story is about what happens when the family punching bag finally punches back. I live in Denver, Colorado, and I work as a senior software engineer making around $140,000 a year. I'm good at my job, financially stable, and generally have my life together. My younger sister, Melissa, is 28. She's a social media coordinator at a startup making $45,000 a year. She lives in a nice one-bedroom apartment in a trendy neighborhood, drives a decent car, goes out with friends regularly, and presents herself as independent and successful. Here's what nobody in my family knows. I've been paying $4,000 a month to cover Melissa's rent for the past 2 years. She can't afford her apartment on her salary, but she refuses to downgrade because it would hurt her image. So I quietly send her money every month, and she pretends to everyone that she's making it on her own. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me explain how we got here. Growing up, Melissa was the golden child. She was outgoing, charismatic, the kind of kid who could charm anyone. Teachers loved her, relatives fawned over her, and my parents treated her like she walked on water. I was the opposite. Quiet, bookish, more interested in computers than people. I got better grades than Melissa, but that didn't matter. She was fun and I was boring. She was the favorite and I was the backup. This dynamic continued into adulthood. When Melissa graduated college with a marketing degree and landed her first job, my parents threw her a huge party. When I graduated with a computer science degree and got a job at a major tech company, they said congratulations over dinner and changed the subject. When Melissa got her first apartment, my parents helped her move, bought her furniture, made it this big, exciting event. When I got my first apartment, they said they were too busy and I should hire movers. Every family dinner became the Melissa show. She'd talk about her job, her friends, her social life. My parents would hang on every word. If I tried to share anything about my work or life, they'd give polite nods and then redirect attention back to Melissa. I learned to just sit quietly and let her have the spotlight. It was easier than fighting for scraps of attention. 2 years ago, Melissa called me panicking. Alex, I need help. I'm 3 months behind on rent, and my landlord is threatening to evict me. How did you get 3 months behind? I don't know. Expenses just piled up. I need $6,000 to catch up or I'm homeless. Why don't you ask Mom and Dad? I can't. They think I'm doing great. I can't let them know I'm struggling. Melissa, if you can't afford your apartment, you should move somewhere cheaper. I can't move. My apartment is perfect for my Instagram. All my friends live in this neighborhood. Moving would make me look like a failure. So you'd rather be evicted? I'd rather my brother help me out. Please, Alex, I'm desperate. I sent her the $6,000, cleared her debt, got her current on rent. I told myself it was a one-time thing, that she'd figure out her budget and be fine. A month later, she called again. I can't make rent this month. I'm short about $2,000. Melissa, what happened to your paycheck? I had expenses, a work conference, new clothes, my car needed repairs. I just need help this one time. I sent her $2,000. This pattern continued for 6 months. Every month she'd call needing money for rent. Sometimes $1,000, sometimes $2,000, once $3,000 when she'd gone on an expensive vacation right before rent was due. Finally, I did the math. Her rent was $4,000 a month. On her salary of $45,000 a year. After taxes, she was taking home maybe $3,200 a month. Her rent alone was more than her entire paycheck. Melissa, you literally cannot afford this apartment. The math doesn't work. I know, but I can't move. Not right now. Just help me until I get a raise or a better job. When are you getting a raise? Soon. My boss said maybe next quarter. That was 18 months ago. The raise never came. The better job never materialized, and I kept sending money. I didn't tell anyone. Not my parents, not my friends, not even my girlfriend Emma. I just quietly transferred $4,000 to Melissa every month and watched her pretend to be financially independent. Why did I keep doing it? Part of it was guilt. I made good money. She was struggling. She was my sister. Part of it was habit. I'd spent my whole life supporting her in the background while she took credit in the foreground. This was just more of the same. But mostly I kept doing it because I was tired of family drama. If I stopped, she'd get evicted, blame me, and my parents would make my life hell for not helping family. It was easier to just pay and stay quiet. Then came last Sunday's dinner. My parents host family dinner every Sunday at their house. It's usually me, Melissa, and our parents. Sometimes extended family shows up. It's always awkward for me because I'm basically furniture while everyone focuses on Melissa. This particular Sunday, Melissa was especially animated. She'd just gotten a small promotion at work, a title change from coordinator to senior coordinator. No pay raise, just a fancier title on her email signature. But she was treating it like she'd been made CEO. This is such a huge step in my career, she gushed over appetizers. My boss said I really earned this promotion through all my hard work and dedication. That's wonderful, sweetheart, Mom said. We're so proud of you. Tell them about your apartment, Melissa, Dad prompted. Oh, right. So I just renewed my lease for another year. My landlord wanted to raise my rent because the neighborhood is getting so popular, but I negotiated to keep it the same price. I'm really getting good at managing money and standing up for myself. She kept the same rent because I told her if it went up, I wasn't covering the increase, but she was presenting it like a personal victory. You've always been so responsible, Mom said. Such a hard worker. This continued through dinner. Every story Melissa told painted her as hardworking, financially savvy, independent, and successful. My parents ate it up, praising her constantly. I sat there pushing food around my plate, thinking about the $4,000 I'd send her in 3 days when rent was due. Then during dessert, Dad raised his wine glass. I want to make a toast to Melissa for her promotion and for being such an outstanding example of hard work and independence. Your mother and I are constantly impressed by how well you're doing. Everyone raised their glasses. Mom was beaming. Melissa was soaking it all in. You know, Dad continued, you're the only one in this family who really works hard and makes sacrifices. You're living in an expensive city on your own dime, managing your money well, advancing your career. That takes real dedication. My mom nodded. Absolutely. Some people have it easy, but you've had to work for everything you have. The implication was clear. I had it easy. Melissa worked hard. I felt something crack inside me. Not anger, just tired acceptance that this was never going to change. They were never going to see me, appreciate me, or acknowledge anything I did. Then she won't need the $4,000 in rent I cover each month, I said quietly. The table went silent. Melissa's eyes went wide. She actually choked on her wine, coughing and sputtering. My mom's smile froze. My dad's glass stopped halfway to his mouth. What? Dad said. Melissa's rent. I pay it. Have been for 2 years. $4,000 every single month. That's $96,000 total, if anyone's counting. Melissa was shaking her head frantically. Alex, what do you... You can't afford your apartment, I continued, my voice calm. You make $45,000 a year. Your rent is $4,000 a month, which is $48,000 a year. That's more than your take-home pay, so I've been covering it. Every month. While you tell everyone how financially independent you are. Alex, stop, Melissa said, her voice desperate. Why? Isn't this a celebration of hard work? I work hard too. I make good money. I spend a third of my salary supporting my sister's lifestyle so she can pretend to be successful. That seems worth mentioning at a family dinner about hard work. Dad looked at Melissa. Is this true? She was bright red, tears forming in her eyes. It's not that simple. It's exactly that simple, I said. You can't afford your life. I subsidize it. You lie to everyone about being independent. That's pretty simple. I was going to pay you back, Melissa said. When? You've been saying that for 2 years. You've never paid back a single dollar. Mom looked horrified. Melissa, why didn't you tell us you were struggling? Because I'm not struggling. Alex is exaggerating. I just needed temporary help. 2 years isn't temporary, I interrupted. $96,000 isn't temporary help. It's a lifestyle subsidy. You offered to help me, Melissa shouted. No, you called me crying about being evicted, and I helped you once. Then you kept asking for money every month, and I kept saying yes like an idiot. There's a difference. Dad set down his glass. His face was doing something complicated, switching between disappointment in Melissa and anger at me. Alex, why didn't you tell us about this? Why would I? So you could tell me it's my responsibility to help family? So you could make me feel guilty for even bringing it up? I know how this works. That's not fair, Mom said. Fair? Nothing about this family is fair. Melissa gets praised for accomplishments that don't exist. I pay her rent and get called the one with an easy life. Where's the fairness in that? You make more money than her, Dad said. You can afford to help. That's not the point. The point is she's lying to everyone about her life. The point is you're toasting her hard work when I'm literally funding her existence. The point is I'm invisible in this family unless you need something from me. Melissa was crying now. You're ruining everything. Why are you doing this? I'm not ruining anything. I'm just telling the truth. If that ruins something, maybe the something was built on lies. You could have said no, Melissa said. You chose to help me. That's on you. You're right. I chose to help you every month for 2 years while you pretended you didn't need help. I chose to fund your fake success while you took credit for non-existent independence. Those were my choices. But here's another choice. I'm done. The table went silent again. What does that mean? Melissa whispered. It means I'm not paying your rent anymore. Starting next month, you're on your own. Alex, no. Please, I'll get evicted. I'll lose everything. Then move somewhere cheaper. Get a roommate. Live within your means. Do what adults do when they can't afford something. You can't just abandon me. I'm not abandoning you. I'm stopping enabling you. There's a difference. Mom found her voice. Alex, we can talk about this. You don't have to be so harsh. Harsh? I've been silent for 2 years while Melissa took credit for a life I'm paying for. This is the first harsh thing I've said. We didn't know, Dad said, because you never asked. You never wondered how Melissa afforded an expensive apartment on her salary. You just assumed she was doing great. Because that's what you wanted to believe. What do you want us to say? Mom asked. Nothing. I don't want anything from you. I just wanted you to know the truth before making another toast to Melissa's hard work. Now you know. I stood up, grabbed my jacket. Where are you going? Dad demanded. Home. I've lost my appetite. Alex, please. Melissa was crying harder now. Don't leave like this. We can work something out. Work what out? You want me to keep paying your rent after I just told everyone about it? That's not happening. Then what am I supposed to do? Figure it out. You're smart, you're hardworking, you're independent. At least that's what you keep telling everyone. Now's your chance to prove it. I walked out, got in my car, drove home with my phone ringing constantly. First call was Mom. Alex, come back. We need to discuss this as a family. Second call was Dad. You embarrassed your sister at family dinner. That was uncalled for. Third call was Melissa. How could you do this to me? You've ruined my life. I didn't answer any of them. The texts started flooding in. Melissa, I can't believe you would humiliate me like that. In front of Mom and Dad. You're cruel. Mom, we raised you better than this. Family doesn't air private business at dinner. Dad, you need to apologize to your sister and work this out. This is between you two, not the whole family. I turned my phone on silent and tried to process what I'd just done. The next morning, I woke up to 47 missed calls and 82 text messages. My email had 12 messages from family members who'd apparently been briefed on the situation. My aunt sent a long email about family loyalty and helping those less fortunate. My cousin sent a text calling me selfish for cutting off Melissa. Even my grandmother, who's usually neutral, left a voicemail saying she was disappointed in how I'd handled things. Nobody mentioned that I'd been paying $96,000 over 2 years. Nobody acknowledged that Melissa had been lying to everyone. The focus was entirely on me being mean at dinner. I called my girlfriend Emma. She was the one person who didn't know about the rent payments, and I needed to talk to someone outside the family. Hey, I need to tell you something about my family. I explained everything. The 2 years of payments, the dinner confrontation, the aftermath. Emma was quiet for a long moment. $96,000? Yeah. And you never told me? I don't know why. I guess I was embarrassed? Like I was being stupid and I didn't want to admit it? You weren't being stupid. You were being taken advantage of. That's what it feels like now. Alex, that's almost $100,000. That's a down payment on a house. That's a car. That's 2 years of not having to worry about money. And you gave it to your sister so she could pretend to be successful? When you say it like that, it sounds worse. It should sound bad. Because it is bad. Your family was celebrating her hard work while you were literally paying for her life. And then they're mad at you for pointing it out? They're saying I humiliated her. She humiliated herself by lying. You just told the truth. Talking to Emma helped. At least one person saw the situation clearly. Over the next week, the family pressure intensified. My parents called a family meeting that I refused to attend. They showed up at my apartment, which I wouldn't let them in. Melissa sent increasingly desperate messages about how she couldn't afford rent, how I was forcing her to move, how I was destroying her life. My extended family got involved, with various aunts, uncles, and cousins calling to lecture me about family responsibility and forgiveness. But nobody apologized. Nobody said, "We're sorry we ignored your contributions," and praised Melissa for things you were paying for. Nobody acknowledged that they'd been wrong. 12 days after the dinner, Melissa showed up at my apartment. I opened the door to find her looking exhausted, her eyes red from crying. Can we talk? About what? About rent? About everything. I let her in. We sat in my living room, the first time we'd been alone since the dinner. I can't afford my apartment, she said. You know that. I've been looking at cheaper places, but everything is so expensive, and if I move to something I can afford, it's going to be tiny and in a bad neighborhood, and my friends... Melissa, stop. Stop what? Stop thinking about what your friends will think. Stop worrying about Instagram. Stop caring about image more than reality. Easy for you to say. You don't care what people think. That's not true. I care. I just care more about living honestly than living impressively. I worked hard for the life I have. No, I worked hard for the life you have. You worked hard maintaining the illusion. She looked down at her hands. I knew it was wrong, taking your money every month and not telling anyone. I knew it was wrong, but I didn't know how to stop. You could have just said no. When I offered help the first time, you could have said thank you, but no. I need to figure this out on my own. But then I would have been evicted. I would have had to move somewhere terrible. I would have looked like a failure. And instead, you lied to everyone for 2 years. Which is worse? She didn't have an answer. What do you want from me, Melissa? You want me to keep paying your rent and pretend this conversation never happened? I want you to understand that I'm trying. I'm looking for a better job. I'm trying to get a raise. I just need more time. You've had 2 years of time, and you haven't improved your situation at all. You're in the exact same position you were when you first asked for help, except now I'm $100,000 poorer and you're comfortable lying to everyone. What was I supposed to do? Move somewhere cheaper, get a roommate, live within your means, like I told you to do 2 years ago. I can't. You can, you just don't want to. She started crying again. You don't understand how hard it is. Everyone I know lives in nice places and does fun things. If I move to some crappy apartment, I'll lose my social circle. I'll lose my identity. If your identity is based on an apartment you can't afford, you don't have an identity. You have a costume. That was harsh, but it was true. Melissa left without us resolving anything. She said she needed time to think, to figure things out. 2 days later, I got a call from my dad. We need to talk about Melissa's rent situation. What about it? Your mother and I have decided to help her temporarily. We're going to cover her rent for the next 3 months while she looks for a new place. That's generous of you. We expect you to contribute. Split it 3 ways. That's about $1,300 a month from you. I laughed. Actually laughed. No. What do you mean, no? I mean, I'm not paying any of Melissa's rent anymore. Not a dollar. You want to help her, that's your choice. But I'm out. She's your sister. And I've helped her more than anyone for 2 years. It's someone else's turn. Alex, we're asking you to step up for family. I stepped up for 2 years while you praised her for being independent. I'm done stepping up. You want to enable her lifestyle? That's your business. Leave me out of it. You're being selfish. No, I'm being smart. I'm not going to keep funding a life she can't afford while she lies to everyone about it. That's not selfish, that's sane. Dad hung up on me. 3 months later, Melissa moved out of her expensive apartment. She got a 1-bedroom place in a less trendy neighborhood for $2,400 a month, which she could actually afford on her salary. She got a roommate off Craigslist to split costs, bringing her rent down to $1,200 a month. My parents helped her move, paid for the deposit, bought her some furniture. They spent about $5,000 total, which was less than I spent on her in 2 months. Melissa stopped posting on Instagram as much. Her stories became less about expensive restaurants and more about quiet nights at home. She stopped trying to maintain the perfect image and started living within her reality. I don't know if she's happier now. We don't talk much. She sends me the occasional text, usually something neutral about a TV show or a holiday greeting. I respond politely but briefly. My relationship with my parents is strained. They still have Sunday dinners, but I don't go. I see them for major holidays, stay for an hour or two, and keep conversations surface level. They never apologized. They still don't understand why I was so upset. In their minds, I embarrassed Melissa unnecessarily, and everything that followed was my fault for causing drama. But I sleep better now. My bank account is healthier. I'm not carrying the secret weight of funding someone else's lie. Emma and I are talking about buying a house. We have enough for a down payment now, partially because I'm not sending $4,000 to my sister every month. Sometimes I think about that Sunday dinner, the look on Melissa's face when I revealed the truth, my parents' shock, the toast that went so wrong. People ask if I regret it, if I wish I'd handled it differently, maybe talk to Melissa privately instead of announcing it at dinner. Honestly, no regrets. That dinner wasn't planned. I didn't go in intending to blow up Melissa's secret, but when my dad made that toast, when he said she was the only one who worked hard, when everyone raised their glasses to celebrate accomplishments I was funding, something snapped. I could have stayed quiet. I'd been staying quiet for 2 years. I could have kept the peace, kept paying, kept being invisible. But I was tired. Tired of being taken for granted. Tired of being the family ATM while being called the one, with the easy life. Tired of watching my sister take credit for independence she didn't have. So I told the truth. At the worst possible moment, in the worst possible way, I told the truth. And you know what? It was worth it. Not because it felt good, it didn't. The aftermath was messy and painful, and I lost relationships that maybe I valued more than I should have, but it was worth it because now I'm not living a lie. I'm not pretending things are fine when they're not. I'm not enabling behavior that was hurting both me and Melissa. Melissa is living within her means now. She's not thriving, but she's surviving, and she's doing it honestly. That's better than the fake success we were maintaining before. My parents are disappointed in me, but they were going to be disappointed eventually. Better to disappoint them by standing up for myself than to disappoint myself by staying quiet forever. The family thinks I'm the villain in this story, the mean older brother who cut off his struggling sister and humiliated her at dinner. Maybe I am the villain, or maybe I'm just the person who got tired of being the hero nobody appreciated. Either way, I'm free, and that's worth more than $4,000 a month.